about the Alcatraz escape.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, digging into this, it is even wilder than all the legends make it out to be.
Oh, absolutely.
We are going deep on this legendary prison break.
Absolutely.
And we're going to try to find out not just how they did it, but who these guys really were.
Exactly.
So buckle up, because this one is a wild ride.
What's so fascinating is that you got to remember, Alcatraz wasn't just any prison.
Right.
I mean, this was the prison.
Yeah.
From 1934 to 1963, it held the absolute worst of the worst.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking mob bosses like Al Capone, ruthless gangsters like Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh,
It was designed to break spirits, not just confine bodies.
yeah, it was surrounded by freezing cold water.
Oh, yeah.
Constant surveillance. I mean, walls you couldn't even chip away at with a chisel, let alone a spoon.
Right.
But you know what they say about the best laid plans, right? Of course.
They're always away.
Out of 14 escape attempts, 14, one stands out. 3 guys who pulled off what many thought was impossible.
Right.
John and Clarence Anglin.
Yeah.
And their mastermind, Frank Morris.
And this is where the psychology really comes in.
Okay.
These weren't just random thugs.
Right.
You know, they were career criminals.
Yeah.
Each with multiple escape attempts already under their belts.
Well.
They knew the system inside and out.
Right.
They even knew each other from previous stints in different prisons.
Okay.
And Morris, the leader, he had this cunning intelligence that really set him apart.
So seasoned cons, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But to target Alcatraz, I mean, what made them think they had a chance?
Well, think about it. Their past failures, they probably fueled their ambition. It's almost like Alcatraz was the ultimate challenge.
Yeah.
The Mount Everest of prison breaks.
Okay.
Plus, they had that shared history, you know?
Yeah.
A level of trust and understanding you wouldn't find with your average cell block buddies.
Right.
So they felt they could really rely on one another.
Okay, so picture this. It's June 12th, 1962. A guard's doing his morning rounds, shining his flashlight into a cell, only to find a remarkably lifelike head staring back at him.
Oh, wow.
Not flesh and bone, but a dummy head so well crafted it fooled the guards during routine checks.
Wow. Can you imagine the shock?
I mean, that detail alone, it just speaks volumes about their planning.
Yeah.
These guys sculpted these heads from plaster. They painstakingly painted them.
Wow.
Even used real human hair.
It's incredible.
It wasn't just about meticulous planning, though, you know? It shows they really understood the guards' routines.
Yeah.
That they were able to find and exploit the system's weaknesses.
Yeah, they were really paying attention.
Absolutely.
So clearly this wasn't just some spur-of-the-moment, let's dig a tunnel with a sport kind of plan.
Right.
The level of preparation is mind-blowing.
It really is.
I mean, they were dedicated.
Oh, yeah. As soon as those dummies were discovered,
Yeah,
Alcatraz went on full lockdown.
of course.
Alarms blaring the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. And the FBI launched this huge nationwide manhunt,
Yeah.
interviewing relatives, chasing down every single lead, every whisper.
Right.
I mean, you have to understand, an escape from Alcatraz, it was a national embarrassment.
Oh, yeah.
They had to find these guys.
It must have been like searching for 3 specific grains of sand on a beach.
Absolutely.
But they did find some curious clues, right?
They did.
Well,
Early on, they found this packet of letters,
oh, wow.
and the letters were connected to the escapees.
Okay.
They were really carefully sealed in rubber, you know.
To protect them from the water.
Exactly, to protect them from the elements.
Smart.
Later, they found pieces of wood, probably from paddles,
Oh.
and fragments of rubber inner tubes floating in the bay. A homemade life vest even washed up on Cronkite Beach.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like they were leaving a trail.
It really is.
Almost daring the FBI to follow them.
Yeah.
But Alcatraz was supposed to be inescapable.
Right.
How did they even begin to unravel this?
Well, that's where the fourth man comes in. Okay, Alan West. Okay. He was part of the escape crew, but he hit a snag and couldn't get out of his cell in time.
Oh, no.
Talk about bad luck, right?
Yeah.
He became a crucial informant for the FBI.
Oh, really?
Yeah, spilling the beans on their meticulously crafted plan.
The inside man.
Exactly.
Okay, spill the beans. How far back did this whole thing go?
So West revealed that their scheming started way back in December of the previous year.
Wow.
And get this, it all started with a few rusty old saw blades.
Wait, old saw blades? Seriously?
No, right?
That's not exactly Mission Impossible gear?
No, but they were on Alcatraz.
Right.
Every scrap was a potential tool.
Okay.
So with those blades and some other makeshift tools they made, they painstakingly loosened the air vents at the back of their cells.
Okay.
Drilling these tiny little holes until the whole vent cover could be removed. They camouflaged the holes with whatever they could get their hands on.
Right.
Suitcases, cardboard, you name it.
Wow.
They blended right into the background.
Okay, so they're out of their cells.
Yeah.
But they're still trapped inside the prison.
Right.
Cut.
Well, behind their cells was this common utility corridor. Totally unguarded.
Really?
Yeah. Kind of a stroke of luck, really.
Oh.
It became their secret passage.
Okay.
To the roof of their cell block.
To the roof?
Yeah. I get this. They set up a secret workshop up there.
A workshop? On the roof of Alcatraz?
Yeah. They were incredibly bold.
Wow.
Taking turns keeping watch, especially before evening head count.
Oh, yeah.
They even built a makeshift periscope so they could get a better view.
Oh, wow.
And up there, they crafted the tools and equipment they needed for the escape.
Okay. I'm dying to know. What kind of gear did they manage to make up there?
Yeah.
Did they have some secret stash of smuggled in goodies?
No, not quite.
Okay.
They were masters of making do with what they had.
Okay.
But their real masterpiece was a 6 by 14-foot raft.
Wow.
Crafted from over 50 stolen raincoats.
A raincoat raft? You're kidding me.
Nope.
How did they even...
I know. Picture this. A raft the size of a small car.
Wow.
Meticulously stitched together. They sealed the seams using the prison's hot steam pipes to vulcanize the rubber.
Wow, they were resourceful.
They even learned waterproofing techniques from magazine articles.
What?
Yeah.
It's credible.
I know.
What was their escape route?
Well, this is where it gets really daring.
Okay.
They used a network of pipes to reach the roof. Then they pried open a ventilator at the top of the shaft, and they held it in place temporarily with a fake bolt they made out of soap.
A soap bolt?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Right.
So then what?
Then they shimmied down the bakery smokestack, scrambled over the fence,
Okay.
and then reached the northeast shore, where they launched their makeshift raft into the chilly, dark waters of San Francisco Bay.
Talk about an adrenaline rush.
I know, right?
So they were free from Alcatraz.
Yeah.
But that's just the beginning of the story.
Exactly. The real question is what happened after they pushed off.
Yeah.
Did they make it to freedom?
Right.
Or did the Bay claim them?
That's what I'll uncover next. Okay, so they're in this raft made of raincoats,
Right.
paddling like crazy into the dark waters of San Francisco Bay. I mean, you've got to wonder what was going through their minds at that moment. Pure terror.
Right.
Exhilaration.
It's hard to even imagine.
I know.
To be in their shoes, facing those treacherous currents and icy cold water, knowing that capture meant a return to the most notorious prison in America.
And it wasn't just about surviving the swim either.
No.
Their plan, according to Alan West, was to land on Angel Island,
Right.
about 1.5 miles away.
Wow.
From there, they'd have to somehow cross Raccoon Strait and reach the mainland, all while evading capture.
It's a long way.
I mean, think about that for a second. Angel Island might be a short distance on a map,
Sure.
but in those rough waters, it's a whole different story.
Totally different.
The currents are notoriously strong. The water temperature is bone-chillingly cold.
Right.
I mean, even experienced swimmers would struggle.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And these guys weren't Olympic athletes or anything.
I know.
They were carrying extra weight with their supplies.
Yeah.
And they were dealing with the stress and fatigue of the escape.
Of course.
It sounds almost impossible.
It really does.
I mean, I've heard stories about people swimming from Alcatraz to the mainland.
Yeah.
Could they have pulled it off?
I mean, there have been successful swims.
Yes.
But mostly by young, strong swimmers under controlled conditions.
Right.
The Anglin brothers and Morris were older,
Yeah.
not in peak physical condition.
Yeah, they weren't exactly training for a triathlon,
Exactly.
and they were relying on a makeshift raft,
Okay.
not their own swimming abilities.
Right.
So the odds were definitely stacked against them.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So the bay itself was a huge obstacle.
Huge.
What other evidence led the FBI to believe they didn't make it?
Well, their plan also involved stealing clothes and a car once they reached the mainland.
Oh, right. You can't exactly walk into a store.
No, you're on the run from Alcatraz. But despite that huge nationwide manhunt, there were no reports of any such thefts.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you'd think someone would have noticed 3 guys suddenly appearing in civilian clothes.
Yeah, for sure. And what about their families?
Right.
Wouldn't they have tried to contact them if they'd made it to safety?
That's another piece of the puzzle. The FBI found zero evidence of any contact between the escapees and their families.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and it's not like they had a network of safe houses.
Right.
Or a pile of cash stashed away somewhere.
Right, they would have needed help.
Exactly, they'd be relying on their families for support.
Yeah.
Which would have been super risky for everyone involved.
Right, so no confirmed sightings, no stolen clothes, no contact with family.
Nothing.
It does paint a pretty bleak picture.
It really does.
But then why? After all these years,
Right.
does this case still have such a grip on the public imagination?
It's a great question.
What keeps the hope alive that they might have made it?
I think it's the simple fact there's no definitive proof.
Yeah.
No bodies were ever recovered.
Right.
Wreckage from the raft.
Right.
It's that little sliver of doubt.
Yeah.
An unanswered question.
Right.
What if?
Right.
What if they somehow cheated fate and just vanished?
Yeah, it's the ultimate cold case. A mystery that just won't die.
It's true.
But didn't the FBI officially close the case in 1979?
They did.
So who's in charge of it now?
Wow.
Are they still actively investigating?
Well, the FBI concluded that the escapees most likely drowned.
Okay.
The case was actually passed on to the U.S. Marshals Service.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they're still on the case today.
What?
They haven't given up entirely.
Wow.
Although finding them alive after all this time is, let's face it, a long shot.
It's still pretty amazing that this case is still active after all these years.
It is.
It's like a lot about the power of the story.
It really does.
It really does.
And you know what I find particularly fascinating?
What's that?
It's the sheer level of planning and ingenuity that went into this escape. I mean, they were like MacGyvers on Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Turning everyday objects into tools.
Yeah.
Using their cunning to outsmart the system.
Right. A secret workshop on the roof.
Yeah.
A raft made of raincoats. A fake bolt made of soap. It's like something straight out of a Hollywood movie.
It really is.
Their story really speaks to the human spirit's capacity for resilience.
Yes.
If they did survive,
Yeah.
what kind of lives did they lead after Alcatraz?
Right. Do they ever reconnect with their families?
Right.
Or were they always looking over their shoulders,
Yeah.
haunted by the past? Anything to think about.
3 guys who defied the odds and disappeared into legend.
And even though the FBI closed their case decades ago,
Yeah.
the U.S. Marshals Service, they still receive tips and follow up on leads.
Really?
Oh, yeah, they're keeping the flame of this mystery burning.
Maybe, just maybe, they slipped through the cracks of history,
Right.
built new lives for themselves.
The thought that they could be out there somewhere living under assumed names?
Right.
I mean, it's a tantalizing thought. Yeah.
There might be a clue hiding, just waiting to be discovered.
Yeah.
See images of the dummy heads,
Oh, yeah.
the makeshift raft, the tools they used,
Uh-huh.
diagrams of their escape route.
It's all there.
That's incredible.
You can practically step back in time and see the world through their eyes.
Story that reminds us that even when you're facing what seem like insurmountable obstacles,
Yeah.
there are people who refuse to give up,
Right.
who dare to dream of a different life,
Yeah.
a life beyond the bars.
And that's the beauty of history, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's full of these unresolved mysteries.
Yeah.
Stories that keep us guessing, keep us digging for answers.
Right.
And, they spark our curiosity, challenge our assumption.
We've uncovered the intricate details of their plan, the daring execution,
Yeah.
and the enduring mystery that continues to captivate us all these years later.
Weigh the possibilities.
Yeah.
And now we leave you with the same question that has haunted investigators for decades.
Did they make it?
Exactly. Or did the icy waters of San Francisco Bay claim them in the end?
Right.
The answer is maybe still out there, waiting to be discovered.
If you stumble upon anything interesting,
Yeah.
be sure to let us know.
Absolutely.
The story of the Alcatraz escape is far from over.